As ever, sometimes the big news and often the bad news is delivered in, or should we say, in stealth within a much smaller story, which on the face of it seems relatively benign. What the hell am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about, and that is I don't think that things are going well at all in the Jarrod Bowen contract negotiations. The reason that I assume that, and it is just an assumption, is because of the news that the club saw fit to leak to trusted sources earlier on this afternoon, and that was that if Jarrod Bowen doesn't sign a new deal within the next 9 months, that's basically the club subliminally telling everybody they've set a deadline without setting a deadline. If he doesn't sign a new deal in the next 9 months, they'll be forced to sell him. This is bad news because they've kept their counsel relatively well during these negotiations, and it's clearly something that has taken a long time to deal with. And I think the fact that they've decided to speak stealthily yet publicly and pass comment on it is probably reason enough for many of us to start getting a little bit concerned about this. What's probably more concerning is, and this has been leaked to 3 people that I have been able to confirm this with, and that is that the club are very much saying if Jarrod Bowen's agents continue to drive a hard bargain. Now, I don't understand anything about this at all, but what is not mentioned in here is I'm not entirely sure that money is the object. I think it's easy to assume money, but money was never the object with Declan Rice, so maybe, just maybe, it's not that. However, the fact that the club has seen fit to put this out there is bad news. Now, this does come with some this bad news is contained within some sort of pink fluffy wrapping paper and a nice big bow on it, which is the club remain confident that they can agree a deal with Jarrod Bowen this season. That's the puff piece. That's the fluffy stuff. Really what you want to know is things like this, that if his agents continue to tough it out, if he doesn't sign within the next 9 months, we'll have to sell him. We'll find ourselves in a similar situation to Declan Rice, and that anything below 75 million will not be accepted. Well, I've got to say, not all of those things can be true at the same time, because Jarrod Bowen may well be worth 75 million. In fact, I think he is. I'm going to say that right now. I think Jarrod Bowen probably is worth 75 million pounds. If he's not, he ain't worth 50. Do you know what I mean? He's worth 65 to 75 million pounds, and I think many would spend that on him. However, he's not in the same situation that Declan Rice was, and the club are not in the same position of strength, because Declan Rice, well, firstly, I feel that Declan felt a debt of loyalty to West Ham. That much was for sure. I think I was always informed that Declan wanted the club to earn money from him, that he didn't want to leave in the lurch. He wanted to commit to the club. He wanted to win a trophy. He wanted to win a trophy the year before, and I think that was for Mark Noble. He wanted to go out on a high. And he wanted to bequeath the club enough money that they could go on and sort of strengthen. Because, you know, he'd been at West Ham, as he would say on numerous occasions in the last year, I've been here for 10 years, I love it here, and so on and so forth. We've got a different situation with Bowen, because Bowen only has, if he gets through this season, they have 1 year left on his deal. And if he's only got 1 year left, and Declan had 2, by the way, he's not, the club are not in any position to demand £75 million for him. They really aren't. I think with 1 year left, you end up with an auction, and you may get 40. But I think if you're looking at that sort of money, I'm going to repeat something that I used to say on regularly with Declan Rice. I think if you get down to that sort of level of money, or south of that, then it's probably not worth selling him, truth be known, because his goals and his worth to the team are really so much more. But I really do believe that the fact the club have seen fit to leak this news now really does indicate frustration. That's my reading of the situation. It would feel that there's been no progress made with Jarrod Bowen's representatives and whoever's doing the negotiating for West Ham. That they're a roadblock, that maybe neither are shifting. And you know what? I doubt it's anything as simple as wages. I'm pretty damn sure, I've been saying this for quite some time now, I'm pretty damn sure that Jarrod Bowen has been offered a wage that will make him the top West Ham earner, which, as I understand it, would be over 130 grand a week. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been offered 150 grand a week, something like that. And if it was a simple matter of wages, I think the club just pay it and they get it done. So there may be something else at play here, which obviously I don't have a clue because I'm not privy to those kind of negotiations. I don't know. I mean, read into that what you will, and a lot will be read into it. But this is not good news. But I've got to be honest with you. Whilst I'll bring you the story now because it's relevant and because it's sort of breaking news now, if you like, I'm not going to spend the amount of time worrying about it that I did about Declan Rice. I'd love Jarrod Bowen to stay, and if anyone's in any doubt about that, look at the videos I've put up over the last 7 days. I'm very, very pro Jarrod Bowen over here. There's no doubt about that at all. I did a video 3 days ago saying this is the best winger in the Premier League. I think he's brilliant. He's joint third. Well, yeah, no, he is not joint third. He is third highest goal scorer in the Premier League at the moment. I think it's remarkable. Had a remarkable start to the season. He is a West Ham hero, the hero of Prague. Absolutely amazing. So I'd love to keep Jarrod Bowen, but I think if there's one thing that the Declan Rice situation has taught me, it's that, you know what, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. We ain't too bad at buying players now. I think there's been times in the past where if we sign 3 players, one of them might turn out all right. We haven't seen that much of Mavropanos yet, but it would appear that out of James Ward-Prowse, Edson Alvarez, Mavropanos, and of course Mohamed Kudus, it would appear that they're all bloody good. So I'm less concerned about that, but I don't want people to take that to mean I want him to go. I really, really don't. But I certainly don't think this is something that we need to be overly concerned about or held to ransom on. Ultimately, if Jarrod Bowen wants to stay, he'll stay. If you don't know what's going to go on with Liverpool and Mo Salah, if that's where he wants to go, that's where he'll go. I've heard on numerous occasions that he won't go. Why would he want to go? He's settled in Essex. And Danny Dyer Senior, obviously because he's married to Danny Dyer Junior, and they have twins together, that Danny Dyer Senior would say, no, you've got to stay at West Ham. I don't believe anything of the sort. I don't believe anything of the sort at all. Danny Dyer may love West Ham, but he's going to love his daughter more, and rightly so. So if that's the best thing for them as a family, then they're going to do so with his best wishes, absolutely. And I'm sure he'll be gutted and disappointed. But there's no way he's going to. If there's something else, I don't know, going on behind the scenes here, or there is interest at a bigger club than West Ham, or whatever the case may be, then I find that hard to believe that there'll be too much pressure exerted from that side of things. Maybe a little cheeky word, a little joke here and there, but ultimately it's his daughter and his grandchildren's future, and I'm sure they'll make the decision that's best for themselves. It concerns me that the agents have been leaked in this. The suggestion is that the agents are the problem, and I think if you are going to leak this news, which I don't think you probably should, I would imagine, suggesting that you believe it's going to all be all right at the end and blaming the agents rather than throwing Bowen under the bus is probably quite a wise thing to do here. And you know what? I don't think Bowen probably is in these negotiations at all. He's in such fine form. He's clearly concentrating everything on West Ham. But I also did another video a couple of weeks ago when Jarrod Bowen was saying, I love West Ham, and West Ham fans are brilliant. I feel myself becoming a West Ham fan. And I said in the video, okay, that all sounds good, but let's see the contract. And I'm not suggesting he takes tuppence and a tin of Happy Shop of baked beans and just signs on the dotted line due to his love for the club. No, far from it. But, and it's not for me to tell anybody else what to take. And to be fair, we don't know what's been offered. But I've been very critical of the club, but one thing you can't level at the club is that they pay crap wages. Actually, comparatively from where we are, do we pay the same wages as Manchester City? No, but we can't. But actually, comparatively, the size of the club, I would suggest we pay too much for too many players. And the list is long from the moment we gave Chicharito 140 grand a week, Danny Ings 125 grand a week. The list goes on and on and on. And there'll be someone watching this video who's going to write in the comments and say, well, what about this, Gonzo? Do you remember this? And do you remember this? There'll be some good examples. We will be offering him good money. I don't know. I would guess we're going to be offering him somewhere between 150 and 200 grand a week would be my guess. And I bet he could get somewhere near that from West Ham. So I don't know. Maybe there's a level to be compromised. Maybe it's not about wages at all. Maybe it's just about football. Maybe he doesn't want to play within. I don't know. Do you know what? I'm speculating, and the rest is pure speculation. I don't want to do that. What I want to deal with is a news story that's been leaked by the club this afternoon, And that is that if Jarrod Bowen doesn't sign a contract within the next 9 months, which will basically take him up to only his last year of his deal, the club will be forced to sell him. That I believe. But if that is the case, the second bit you don't get to do. If you're forced to sell him, you don't get to name the price. The market dictates the price at that point. You don't. And with a player that good with a year left on his contract, there'll be a lot of interested parties. And a year is long enough that we will get some money. But I also believe that a year is short enough that if someone really wants him and the price gets too high, they'll just wait and sign him on a free.